Hi, and welcome to tonight's Monday night panel. I hope you've got over the excitement of Saturday's game and had a lovely weekend, extended weekend, including today. So tonight we've got the pleasure of having one of the players from Saturday with us, Dan Kemp, so he can tell us from a perspective of a player on the pitch how it was for him. And we've also then got our regular panel following that with Mark, Liam and Anna. So we'll bring Vic on. He's got some SAS updates, I think. Good afternoon, Vic, or evening.
Yeah, good evening. It's getting dark, of course, now. Just after 8 o'clock, it gets a little dark, so we are entering that time of the year. Yeah, SAS. Tomorrow, phone bookings open only from 7 p.m, and that's for the remaining seats on the coaches to Doncaster. So if you're looking for a seat for Doncaster on Saturday, 7 p.m. tomorrow, phone bookings only. And then on Thursday at the county ground, just behind the town end where the little sign says away travel, there'll be phone bookings as well from 7 p.m. and it's likely to be for Morecambe. So those are the 2 days that you can book to go on SAS travel. And it's always advisable to have a match ticket for those games if you're booking to go on a SAS travel. 8:45, I think they leave on Saturday for the trip to Doncaster.
Excellent. Brilliant. So let's bring Dan on.
Hi,
Good
guys.
evening.
Hi, evening.
Hi, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you guys? You good?
Good.
Yeah,
Especially after Saturday. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully everyone's had a good weekend after that.
Exactly. Right then, so if you've got any questions, please leave them in comments. As always, we'll get through as many as we can. Okay, I will leave you and catch up later.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. Dan, thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. It's been watching Swindon at the moment is a joy, and I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to getting up at 5:30 next Saturday morning to go to Doncaster. It's that simple. What's it like playing in this team?
No, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me on the show. No, it is. I'd say you're saying you're really enjoying watching the team. I think from a player's point of view, it's a pleasure to play in it as well at the moment. We've got a really good group of staff and players, first and foremost, really good people, and I think that relates on the pitch. You know, if you've got good people first and foremost, then you want to do well for each other. You're all performing well. It's a really good environment to be in. I'm really loving being part of this team, and the exciting thing is I think we're only going to get better, which is even more pleasing.
Well, that's very exciting indeed. I mean, I'm going to get your thoughts on Wrexham first of all, because, well, those of us who were there couldn't believe it. I mean, tell us how you felt. I mean, it was bonkers, wasn't it?
The craziest game I've ever been a part in, probably for everyone. The first half, how dominant we were, you know, just felt like every time we were going to go forward, we were going to score. And then just second half, it just was first and foremost, I think, as a neutral, it must have, maybe not for the Swindon fans, probably heart and mouth, but for a neutral, it was probably a very entertaining game. Just had everything, really. Never expected to come away with a point, but excuse me. But yeah, a mad game. Obviously, very disappointing not to get all three, but it was certainly an entertaining game, that's for sure.
Yeah, how did it feel in the dressing room afterwards? Because going away, you know, for us fans, the supporters bus on the way back was very quiet.
Yeah,
and it felt like a defeat. How did it feel?
Yeah, exactly that. It felt like a defeat when you're 4-1 up away from home at half time. If you're not coming away with anything other than 3 points, there's no doubt there's going to be disappointment. I think Wrexham's a very tough place to go. You know, that their atmosphere that they create on the back of last season, especially even after they got to 4-2, you know, it felt like a massive change in the game, and their crowd was behind them. So it's a difficult place to come. And maybe if you would have spoke to someone before the game and they said we got a point, they would have took it. But to go 4-1 up, and then even when we went 5-3, I thought, you know, that's a massive goal, and hopefully we're going to again take home the 3 points. But it wasn't to be. But I think it just shows the character, really, to pick ourselves back up from that and not let it rest too much within the group after that disappointment in the change room. Is quickly on to, right, when's the next game? We're going to go and put that right. So I think that's a testament to the manager and his staff and the players that we didn't let it affect us too much, and we obviously got that massive win this weekend, which is brilliant.
Yeah, we'll get on to that in a minute. We've got comments coming in already. Craig says, STFC leading goal scorers across top 5 division in England, which is fantastic. Helen says, do we need a GoFund page to sign him up? We'll get on to that in a minute about what's going to happen. Neil says, evening all, what a performance Saturday. Great to see a 6-0 win. Derek says, that was the 6th time I've seen a score 6 in a game. Superb. And Kevin says, what's got wrong at MK Dons for you to keep going out on loan? Our gain is their loss. And Sean says, tell MK to keep the money they owe us and sign permanently. I mean, people want you to sign permanently. It's that simple. I mean, we've had this experience before with Doyle and Yates. You may have heard in the past when they went back in January to, I think it was Rotherham and Bradford City, respectively. What do you know? Or you just play until January and see what happens?
I think when I signed on loan, it was always a vision for the season. You're not really thinking about, because a lot of the time that's taken out of your control. That's between the two clubs and how they want to get to that agreement. All in my mind right now is I'm playing for Swindon. I love playing for Swindon. I think you can tell that already by the way I go out there and play. I'm really enjoying my football. I'm so grateful to how the fans have taken to me and welcomed me, and it feels like a great place for me at the moment to play football. It's just at the moment I can't really afford to look too far ahead, because I think that's when your mind can be strayed as a footballer. I think you've got to look to the games ahead and how can I help this team be successful for whatever amount of time I am here. That can only be my only focus. But as regard to that, I'm just 100% focused on making sure we keep getting the wins and providing good moments for the fans and my teammates. That's all I can control right now.
Well, you're certainly providing them. And it said never fall in love with loan players, but I think Swindon Town fans have already fallen in love with you and Jake and the keepers and everybody. So, it's too late for that, really. I mean, your flatmate, we had him on a couple of weeks ago. He did all right Saturday, didn't he? I mean, to be fair, that game he could have had 7 in. I mean, it could have been, 6-all at half time. It was a crazy first half of football. And, then you just completely took over. I think you provided 3 of his goals. Is that right?
It was 2. I got 2 for him. But no, he was Youngie's been outstanding since he's come in. I think we can all see what a great player he is, and how much he's going to be important for us this season. I think he's got that natural goal scorer's instinct, just a great finisher, just either foot in the area, he's going to be there and he's going to be able to finish. So I think I think the biggest thing as well is how quickly we've all gelled. It's quite a lot of players that never played together before, and I think that's not always the case at the start of the season. It could take a few weeks for players to gel and to understand each other's game, but I think as a whole, the group's gelled really well, and that's testament to the manager and his recruitment team and just picking the right players for the group, which I think is really important.
You got an important goal just before half time, of course, didn't you? Because they'd had a glorious chance to have gone in front. And as I say, it could have been any old score on Saturday. It was crazy. I mean, tell us about your goal. It's a great finish.
Yeah, no, I think I could have had a couple before that. I think you'd agree. I had a long run, which I put past the post, and I had a chance with my right foot early in the game as well. But no, it was a great feeling to get. I think that first goal in any game is crucial, and to get that, I think I played the ball to Youngie and just carried on my run, and just managed to tuck it past the keeper. So it's a great feeling to get the first one at the county ground as well. It was a special feeling to score in front of our fans. Yeah,
and the second half was just magnificent. I mean, when you've got a team like that and you're so in control, it's a bit like the first half at Wrexham. You play some wonderful, wonderful football. But when you're playing like that and you know that everything you're doing is coming off, you've got players who are all comfortable on the ball, who like carrying the ball. How does that feel?
Yeah, no, it is a very enjoyable team to play, and I must admit, as you say, every player on the pitch is comfortable in possession, which is not always the case. I've played in teams before where you might go searching for the ball in areas where are not as effective because you don't know when you're going to get the ball next. I think I can trust in my teammates because of how good they are on the ball to find me in good areas where I can hurt the opposition most. So it's a really good feeling as an attacking player in the position I play in that I'd like to think I'm not going to be starved of possession and I'm going to be on the ball a lot, which is so important for a player like me.
Lots of comments coming in. Do you think, this is from Sean, do you think players just find their feet at certain clubs? Also, Jake Young seems to be scoring for fun here. I mean, 7 goals is ridiculous, isn't it? It's not even the end of August, for goodness sake.
Incredible.
That's crazy. Yeah. So that often happens, doesn't it? I mean, it's like Doyle and Yates, that partnership they had at Swindon was just brilliant. And, if you're in a team that you're comfortable in, you must feel happy with everything. I mean, you must have had the happiest household in the country on Saturday night, mustn't you?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think definitely you just have these teams and these people and these players that you automatically gel with. I think Youngie said it in an interview or something. It just seems like you're not even having to call for the ball. It's just happening instinctively. You know where each other are. You know where the ball's going to be. I think that's just hopefully. Maybe I'd love to say we've sat down an evening and discussed it about how we're going to link up in games, but it hasn't happened like that either. It's just been very much instinctively on the pitch and just trusting where each other are going to be. So long may it continue, but also now his start to the season has been incredible. So hopefully I can keep supplying him the goals and we keep getting the 3 points. Yeah,
we'll talk about Doncaster in a minute because obviously that's the next one. Kevin says, how long have you got left on your contract at MK?
He's my. Does he want to be my agent? No, I'm in my last year. This is my last season contracted at MK Dons.
Okay, fair enough. Now we know that. Simon says, gutted I missed the game Saturday. I'm on holiday in Cornwall. Well, I live in Devon, so hi to the neighbours. He calls himself Kempe. We should call him Kempes, says Andrew. You may not know about Mario Kempes, but wonderful player for Argentina. I love you, please stay, says Christian. Reminds me of Jack Payne, just a better version. League 2 Messi. Can you keep Kemp for walking out with my son who was mascot? Oh, can you thank him, Dan, for walking out with my son who was mascot? Made his day, said Alex. Kemp literally goes hunting any ball that was in 20 yards of him. Exactly what we've always needed. And Rita says, little Casey said she was saving her pocket money so she could buy Dan and Jake. I think she got to go a long way off. Who's better at FIFA, Kempe or Youngie, says Steve?
We haven't played yet, actually, because we haven't actually got that good Wi-Fi at the apartment, so that's something we need to get better. But once we do play, I'll put it on my Instagram or something, and the fans can work out it's better.
We need to know. So, I mean, the feeling in the dressing room after Saturday, you must have all gone in there cock a hoop, wanting to play another game on Tuesday. You haven't got one, but it's that sort of atmosphere, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like when you're winning and when it's going well, I think it's very much the games come thick and fast, and just you can't wait to get out there again. That's definitely the feeling so far.
And Doncaster on Saturday. I mean, looking at the table, you're in 8th place. Donny are in the bottom of the league, but hey, it's early season, so who knows? What are you expecting on Saturday?
I'm expecting a tough game. Doncaster, I've played against them a few times. It's always been a difficult place to go, actually. So a really nice ground. Normally a really nice pitch as well, which will only help us in the way we want to play. I know they probably wouldn't. I probably admit they haven't had the best of starts to the season, but that doesn't really mean anything in this league. It's about going there and making sure we prepare right, which I know we will do, and trying to get the 3 points.
How important is Charlie Austin in the minute? Because he's not banging goals in, but he's making space for others, I think it's fair to say, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Charlie's just an unbelievable person, but everyone knows what a top player he is first and foremost. So I think what the little things that I think people will appreciate is just how important he is for us in the team. Like he comes to receive the ball and provides space for other people like myself. He's brilliant at dropping down and getting on the ball and playing out, which is key to us in possession. And then also, little things like when I go through for my goal, if he doesn't stay away and occupy the defender, I don't get the opportunity to finish. So it's little things like that people might not notice, but also just he's our captain first and foremost. So his experience and his know-how is valuable to all us younger players. So it goes without saying how important he is for us as a team.
Well, I'm going to let you go in a minute, but chicken and pasta apparently is your signal. How far are you on the scale? Are you Master Chef, or are you like me, can barely do beans on toast? Where would you put yourself?
I'd say I'm probably middle of the road. The funny story is I've heard that Youngie's saying it's a bit dry and stuff. Like it's not the best meal, but they were all singing my praises after the game. So I think they'll be queuing up on a Friday night now to come round and have some. But no, I definitely wouldn't say I'm Master Chef. I'm more middle of the road. If it's edible, it works for me. So that's about where I'm at.
That's fair enough. And just finally then, you are focused on playing for Swindon. You're not looking to January. You want to stay at Swindon. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just I've got to be focused on where I am right now. I can't afford to look anywhere past that. All I can say is I'm loving my football. I think that's evident on the pitch. I'm so grateful to the fans and everyone associated with Swindon, how much they welcomed me and how much they took to me as a player and as a person. So all I can say is I'm loving every minute. I'm loving playing in this team, and it's a joy to be a part of it. So let's just keep that going, and whatever happens in the future happens. Let's just focus on right now and enjoy it.
Yeah, just a couple of quickies. Lee says, how good is it to play with Saidu Khan? He's been amazing this season as well, which is great to have in midfield, isn't it? And Steve says, are Swindon the fittest side you played for? Because of lots of extra minutes, of course, now.
Yeah.
So it was 8 minutes, I think, in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've got to say, we were all thinking 8 minutes. Anything can happen in 8 minutes. But how is that affecting you at all? Are you happy with that? You can deal with all that?
Yeah, no, I think we've known this for a while, and it's going to be part of the season. There's a few different rule changes this season with different types of things you can't do this season towards referees and stuff. So we've got to be clued on with that. And I think part of the game is they are extending these long additional times to I think it's to keep the ball in play more or something like that. I believe to like aid the ball in play time, which is understandable, but we just got to be adaptable as players, I think. But I joined late into the pre-season, but even then we were working so hard under the gaffer, and the lads are as fit as anything, really. I think they've had a really tough pre-season, but you can see the benefits of it. We look really fit as a side. We're going right to the end, and that's credit to how hard the boys work. So, and also just that first one, Sads has been outstanding this season so far. He's brilliant to play with. He's so crucial to the way we want to play, and he's brilliant. He's brilliant at sucking defenders in, which then leaves space for me off the back of them. So he's been crucial to us this season.
Well, thank you ever so much for joining us. We're going to let you go off and enjoy whatever it is you're going to do for the rest of the evening. Probably make chicken and pasta, but I think the message is coming over loud and clear. We want you to stay at Swindon. Is that fair enough? Have you got
that? Message fully taken on board.
And if you could say that to Jake as well, that would do nicely.
I'll pass it on to him. As well.
Thank you ever so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your time. Have a lovely
evening. Thanks, Jake. Enjoy your evening.
Cheers.
Yeah, see you, Donny. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
There you are then. What a lovely chap. And, he wants to stay at Swindon, I think it's fair to say. He's enjoying his football. He's loving his football. We want him to stay at Swindon. What's not to like, really? Exactly. No, that's what we want. People who want to play. And Mike Flynn. Oh, Mitchell. Hello. I brought him on a bit early. Hello. But that's what Mike Flynn said, wasn't it? People who want to play Swindon. So yes, definitely. Okay, I'm going to bring the rest on because I'm delayed again. And there's Anna. Okay, I think we have a full house then. Marvellous. Okay. All right. Yeah. We have. I will see you later. All right, Chris, thank you ever so much indeed. Mitchell, did you get the answer you wanted?
Yes. Yes.
Good. You can say a bit more if you want.
Yeah. Obviously, before obviously we came. I asked him if his likeness of him staying, like every other Swindon fan, and obviously it's outside of his hands, but he wants to stay. So all I can do is, and I'm pretty sure the other guys, I'm an MK Dons fan this season. The better they do, they don't look behind. They don't look at the other player, bring the player. Hope they do well and let Kemp sit with us because he is just a special player. He makes it tick. He just keeps everything going. He's that driving force in the middle that, you know, could have had a few more goals before, even in the first half. But he just drives with the ball. And he's got that bite as well. I think for one of the goals, he's nicking the ball back and Crawley are looking at him going, is it a foul? It's not a foul and it's a great pass. So anything we can do to keep him is vital, because you look at Darcy playing for them. I thought Darcy played really well, to be fair, but that's the player we would have had if it wasn't Kemp, it was Darcy. So you can see that extra bit of quality that is really gonna, I think, drive us forward this season. So if we can keep him, then that's a huge one.
It is. Mark, I have to say, let's have a sort of Doyle and Yates about it, doesn't it? We're kind of already thinking about January, and it's only August, for goodness sake. But I mean, Jake Young, to me, has everything. He got the classic centre forwards goal with a header. He got a great near post one just after half time. He likes scoring just after half time, I think it's fair to say. But he's a player who seems to have everything.
Yeah, these goals, the second half goals particularly, came after, I think I turned around to a couple of people at half time, maybe even Anna, and said, I don't think Jake Young's done a lot first half. It shows what I know. I was less mindful of Doyle and Yates and more mindful of Tyrese Simpson and KKH, really.
Yeah.
You know, I think when those two went back, two seasons ago, we definitely went backwards as a side. And whilst we're loving it at the moment, you know, we've got to urge caution in the sense that these are not our players, and that is a concern to me. You know, they've been involved in most of the goals we've scored, and I think between them they scored 11 out of the 15 league goals we've scored.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so I'm loving it like everybody else. And Saturday coming out of the ground, you're buzzing because it's 6-0, but there is a note of caution about what happened a couple of years ago for me, I think.
Yeah, definitely, Liam. I mean, welcome, by the way, to your first appearance on the Monday Night Panel, although you were here last week on the sofa, talking about Red Balloons, which is a marvellous book. You should read it. It's available in the club shop, on Amazon and other sites as well. That's the plug done. I'm not going to do another one.
Thank you.
I came away Saturday thinking, I can't wait to get up at 5:30 next Saturday, go to Doncaster, which is crazy, isn't it? But that's how you feel watching this team at the minute, isn't it?
Well, it is, absolutely. Although I almost think the opposite in some respects. I think it's great that there's a week off because, you know, as fans we're on a huge high with just I think not just Saturday but the start of the season has probably exceeded expectations given where we were, you know, a week or two before the season. So the way that we've played it's been excellent. Hopefully there'll be a new face or two along the way this week, and I think it might just do everyone a little bit of good, just have a calm week on the training ground. They'll be absolutely focused for Saturday. So in some respects, I'm not too concerned that there isn't a game Tuesday night. I think they'll be flying and ready for Saturday when it comes. As I said, hopefully with another face or two in the squad, if not the team.
Yeah, sure. The transfer window, I think, closes at some point this week. Who knows when it is? Mark has sent me this message, which is amazing, really. August 2003, Swindon 4, Notts County 0. August 2013, Swindon 5, Crewe 0. August 2023, Swindon 6, Crawley 0. There you are. Fabulous statistic. Anna, your feelings? I mean, never fall in love with lone players, eh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be with Jake Young and Dan Kemp, and I think you know, we can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but it's all totally outside of our control. So just focus on those moments of joyousness from Saturday, really. But the note of caution I'd like to urge with regard to coming up against Doncaster Saturday is that in the second half, Crawley just rolled over. I felt like the first 45 was a competitive game, and once we got the second and certainly the third in the second half, you know, they just wilted. They were nowhere. And I can't imagine that there are going to be many opposition teams this season that are going to do what they did, which was pretty much, you know, hand us the win. And that's not to say we didn't work hard and score some really great goals. And but I can't imagine that Doncaster are going to do the same. So we've got to just focus on being level-headed and getting ready for a different challenge that will be provided with us when we go up there. So yeah, and we saw what happened to Colchester, or Gillingham rather, on Saturday, didn't we? That they hadn't conceded a goal so far this season, and look what happens to them. So we've got to take care to keep up the run, I would say.
Yeah, that's a fair comment, because that first half was a bit like a basketball match, wasn't it? It could have been, I don't know, 6-6 at half time, it seemed to me. It's just crazy, Mitchell. I mean, it was open football at its most open, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly what Anna said. Let's get carried away, first of all, because we don't really get carried away. We've got a negative bunch of fans, myself included. So let's enjoy these 6-0, because it don't happen that often, and let's do it. But there were moments in that first half where it could have gone the other way, and I still stand by that. I think we need some experience. I think we still need some experienced players in this team. Even if it didn't have to start, they might just need to come on the 55th, 60th minute to kind of see out the games. And I think Kinsella's okay, but you can't rely on him to come and do it on his own. I think not including Saturday, I'm more scared when we take the lead than when we go behind, because we don't know how to hold the lead. But when the Forest Green away, obviously we got that goal just for half time, but then they got players sent off and we were going for it. But when we get comfortable, we don't know to stick or twist, and therefore we sometimes do neither. And then the goal comes in, and then we panic. Wrexham game, as soon as that second half come out 4-1, they went for us, and we really, really panicked, and we couldn't hold the ball. And I thought, this is going to really go badly. Luckily, we got that goal against the run of play, and then it calmed us down a bit, and then we got sucker punched by 2 goals again. I think we need to put 2 more experienced players in the squad who will come on, and I know Flynn doesn't want to hear this. One of them's got to be a 6'5" centre or 6'3" centre back who comes on the last 30 minutes, because people are going to know. Last season we were the most goals conceded in the last 5 minutes in League One, League Two, and then we were the second most cross balls coming Championship, League One, League Two. So us conceding a cross in the last 5 minutes of the game probably going to happen, because the stats say that, and it's carried on this season. You need to put a 6'5" centre back, because they're just going to put the ball on us every time, and that's the concern that I have. I don't think we're strong enough. So going 5-0, that's great, or 6-0, great, but not every team's going to be a Crawley. Everyone's looking at Doncaster again. They conceded the most. We scored the most. This could be amazing. No, we've all been Swindon fans long enough to know that's not how it works. It's not the Swindon way.
No, that was a point I was going to make. This is Swindon, eh? That's, things are fabulous. This is Swindon. Derek says, spot on, Mark. These players could be recalled even if not wanted by their clubs to prevent us doing well. It's a very good point. Ian says, great result Saturday, but we could easily have been a couple down before we scored. I mean, it was a glorious opportunity, which the bloke put over the bar, or shaved the bar, didn't he? When he was in acres of space. Steve says, who would have thought the Russian Hepburn Murphy wouldn't be first choice now? I mean, boy, we all thought at the start of the season he and Charlie Austin would be a pair. But you bring him on with 25 minutes to go, Mark. That's got to be frightening, hasn't it?
Yeah, Russian will have his part to play as well, won't he? The biggest issue with Hepburn Murphy is keeping himself fit, because he seems to be injured so much, and therefore lacks the continuity that playing 5 or 6 games on the trot brings. And I like him as a player. I think he's got a lot of attributes, including blinding pace. I think he'll only improve. Flynn looks like the type of bloke who will improve the players that we've got, as all good managers should. And I think Hepburn Murphy will be another one. So I think he'll have his chance. There'll be maybe an injury to somebody, and he'll come in, or a loss of form. So I wouldn't be too worried about him. It's good that we've got a choice in terms of perhaps 4 strikers. If you argue that Wakeling is a 4 striker, but I totally agree with Mitchell. We definitely need at least 2 more players, and it's probably the only thing I've disagreed with Flynn on when I heard him pre-match on Saturday saying we don't need a big centre half. I think we do need a big centre half, and I think the 3 out of the 4 league games that I've been to, I missed the Crewe games. I was on holiday, but there've been big holes in the defence. Forest Green, we were sometimes 1-on-1, 2-on-2 at the back. Saturday for the first 20 minutes, and Flynn himself knows we could easily have been a couple down.
Yeah.
It does sound a little bit churlish, but I think we need to have some experience at the back, and then a big fella we can throw on at top with 20 minutes to go to hold the ball up if we need to. And because it looks like we're certainly heading in the right direction with the team that we've got, but we still are, for me, 2, perhaps 3 players light.
To think that we haven't really made that many additions, and the football we are playing, that's in Flynn we trust. Normal service in League Two is beginning to start. Bradford winning, Crawley losing. Don't underestimate Donny. I don't think we are. Hi, James. Agree about a bit of extra experience. Crawley have that experience to come on to help them in Mitchell and my favourite. Guess who? Oh, Anthony Grant. Hi, Phil. In the light of our defensive frailties, what does panel need to be done to tighten up our defence, but not at the expense of our attacking flair? Is it getting our midfield to tighten up? Liam, answer that one if you want to.
I think as fans, we've got to get used to a different way of playing, which we've seen in the last few weeks now. It's a roller coaster, and it is end to end. And I think there are going to be a lot of goals, partly because we play a different style, and I think also that the refereeing changes with multi-ball playing a part as well. I think it's a different game. We've also got used to possession-based football over the last couple of years, where we've had 65% possession every week, not having too much threat going forward, but equally we've been pretty secure with the ball at the back at times. I think it's different playing one. We're defending one-on-one in order to be more attacking. So I don't. I am with Flynn, and I don't necessarily buy into the 6'4", stick somebody on and just to head the ball out, because they have so much more to do than just head the ball out. And I think Forest Green had a giant left-sided central defender, as did Wrexham. Both of those were hopeless, and we really got at those players. So bringing in somebody for the sake of it who's tall and just heads the ball will solve half a problem, but it will expose others as well. So no, I'll trust him to get. We need cover in that area, because we'll be hit with suspensions and injuries. And I think last season we probably used about 23 centre halves anyway over the course of the year. So we do need cover. But I'll trust him to get the right sort of player in to suit the way that we play. And I think we've got to get used to that. And I think that's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, we need a big centre half, but one that can play a bit too. Flinney keeps his cards close to his chest, probably sign a 7-foot central back before the window closes. A big brick outhouse centre-back who puts the ball and player in row Z is a must. Anna, where do you stand on this particular debate?
I'm a bit with Flynn on this, really, that I'd rather see an addition to the midfield who's someone who's able to come off the bench, and I have to say who probably can hold the ball up. So I'm kind of focused on defensive play rather than the defence. So at Wrexham, our problem was, aside from some iffy refereeing decisions, was that the ball shouldn't have been in our box in the first place to concede those goals or those chances. So I'd like to see players who can come on late on and hold the ball away from our defence. Guard the goal like it's your mother is a phrase that I think Gary Johnson used for Torquay, and keep the ball away from the penalty area. So we're bringing on at the moment Kinsella, who perhaps needs a run of games, but maybe you need another holding midfielder and somebody up front rather than necessarily a big central defender. We do need defensive cover, but I think Minturn provides that quite well as a centre back. So I'd look to shore up the midfield, especially if we're going to lose Khan potentially in the international breaks coming up, and then in January, isn't it, the AFCON Cup?
Yes. So, and his form has been excellent, as we were saying earlier. It's been really good. I mean, we should say what a weekend for Swindon teams, because it was 6-0 against Crawley with Jake Young getting 4. Abu Kanu got 3 in the 4-1 win for the under-18s along the A420. And Swindon women, Annie Colston got a hat-trick for that one with a 4-1 victory over Old Actonians. And they start their league campaign on Sunday at Exeter at the Exwick Sports Hub, which I shall luckily be along to go and see, because it's only 6 miles away. So that's lovely. Lots of goals, Mitchell, all the way through the club, which is fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always good to have obviously people scoring throughout the different teams. I think the Carney one excites a lot of people. I've watched him on Tuesday in the game against Arsenal. I think he's definitely exciting. I think there's something there. We're desperate for him to come at the Forest Green game. I was like, we've got the options. People are dead on their feet. Get him on and just spread. And I'm going to disagree a little bit with Liam here because I thought the centre backs who played for Forest Green made the 10 men really difficult, like for us, and easier for them because we were being a bit stupid and just kept crossing the ball in the air to 6'4", 6'5" centre backs who pretty much were header and everything. So that's why I wanted Carney off the bench because the ball in the top wasn't working. So maybe the ball around the back would have been the pass. But goals throughout the pitch. I'm glad someone posted about Charlie as well because it's not necessarily just about goals as well. It's what the other people bring to the team. And I think Charlie got a bit of criticism after the first game season. See fans going, doesn't seem interested, seems a bit lazy. Obviously, didn't get the goal against Forest Green, and I think he worked really hard. He got basically the assist for the save, and then he got his goal against Wrexham. But on Saturday, I said I think he was fantastic. I think the things he does for the team, and I know everyone assumes Charlie Austin is your goal scorer, but the things he's doing for the team is huge. I said there were so many opportunities where he just pulled players away. I think there's a chance Kemp running through and Charlie pulled out left so that he could shoot. I think Kemp missed it, but he just kept doing that all games. And everyone's just going to go, oh, they've got Charlie Austin. They've got Charlie Austin. Focus on Charlie Austin and let the others. Now they're going to go, oh, that Young scored 7 goals. Let's focus on Young. Hopefully that makes space for Charlie.
Yes,
and when they're tired, we bring Hepburn Murphy on the bench to run at him. It's exciting times because I'm seeing goals everywhere. And one of my biggest concerns at the start of the season, and I'll hold my hand up. And when we signed Young, I was like, why? From what I can see or what people are saying, he's similar to Wakeling or Hepburn Murphy. Even he said, I'm a fast person. I get him behind that spot. I thought we already got that with the other two. I want a different option. I want a target man. But at this moment in time, I'm happy with the 4 strikers we got. I do agree with the guys. I think we do need another experienced midfielder. I feel like the defenders get easily attacked for the goals that have been going in, where the game against Wrexham, I don't think any of the 3 centre-backs, I'm not looking at any of those 3 centre-backs going, I thought Brewitt gets a heart. I thought he was fantastic.
I think you mentioned Brewitt there. I think he's been superb, to be honest. He's committed, 100% committed in everything he does in a game, and he's been tremendous. Charlie Austin is just playing a different role. He's not going to bang in 30 goals this season, but he's making space for others, as we were saying to Dan Kemp earlier. And that's got to be a good thing, isn't it? When you've got players around him, Mark, who can take advantage. I mean, Young, to me, you just look at him. He got a classic centre-forwards goal with that header. He drives at defences. He must be a nightmare to defend against.
Yeah, he's been very good, hasn't he, Young? But I totally agree with Mitchell. And Kempy said it as well, didn't he, about how Charlie, creates space for others. And he's a 34-year-old striker who's scored, nearly 200 league goals, hasn't he? So his experience is just fantastic. And I also have to say, in the past, we'd be talking about how we've gone to Swindon games and been bored and been clock watching. I haven't been bored at any Swindon games that I've seen this year. I've been royally entertained. Forest Green, obviously, to win in the last minute was fantastic. Wrexham game, never going to see another league game like that. I know we saw a 5 each with the Sheffield United playoff game a few years ago. And then to win 6-0 on Saturday was fantastic. So I think the difference between a Michael Flynn team, from what I've seen so far, and, for example, a Jody Morris team or a Scott Lindsay team, it's been like chalk and cheese, because we've moved the ball so much more quickly. It's so much more fluent, and you've got to take your hat off to him. He's done that in a matter of probably only a few months, if not weeks. So early signs very promising, but I've been watching Swindon Town like you, Vic, for a long, long time, and we've always got to be a bit cautious. Nobody is going to underestimate Doncaster. We don't know what they're like. It's 4-5 games into a new season, and we're enjoying it at the moment, and we'll see where it takes us. But it's been a great start, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been fabulous. And Jake Young's 7 goals by the end of August is just ridiculous. Just crazy. Right. Been to all the games this season, just loving the excitement of games. Even losing on penalties against Peterborough, we deserve to win. Enjoy it and trust the manager going forward. Yeah, they play well at Peterborough. We won nothing in the air against Forest Green Rovers. Their centre-backs ruled the air, says Sean Sid Feely. What are the panel's thoughts on Minturn, says Ian? If we're all talking about a centre-back needed to be signed, does he read a loan? We also have Clayton to return. Agree with Anna about central defensive midfield player. Liam, where are you on this? Because Harrison Minturn, to me, looks a player. And Clayton, of course, is still injured, but he will return. So do we need another centre-back?
I thought, well, firstly, it was really encouraging to see him come on Saturday and have 15 to 20 minutes. So it was good to see him. I think he's developing really well. He's a tremendous prospect, clearly. Whether he's ready to play week in, week out in League Two in a promotion chasing team, I'm not sure. Maybe, depending on who comes in or what comes in over the week, maybe he's one who went out on or goes out on loan for a month or two and plays maybe a level down and gets a really good run of games in, because whilst we can all see that I think he's done ever so well in 6 months, but I don't think we would want to be depending on him playing every week if we are going to be challenging for promotion just yet. I think it's a big ask. And it's especially big ask with the way we're playing, where we are committing players further forward and asking the defenders to defend one-on-one. So yeah, really, really pleased with him. It might be a case that at some point in time he will benefit from a loan and just get in, 25, 30 games at a decent level as well, and then come back ready to be a first choice.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Whatever way you look at it, the gaps we tend to leave in defence at times is alarming. Better teams will take advantage of this and need sorting. Hi, Nick. Thank you so much for your support on Saturday. Successfully completed a 22-mile practice walk today. Nick Smith is walking 26 miles with the March for Men. That's with Jeff Stelling for prostate cancer research. So we wish you well on that, Nick, and good luck with it. And I hope it goes well. Mark says, great performance Saturday. Jake Young need to sign him. More entertainment on Saturday game than most of last season, says James. On Saturday, I heard in the stand, forward, can't understand fans. No pleasing everyone. And I heard that. And I thought, I don't know how much more forward you want to go, to be honest, because both sides were going forward. It was like end-to-end stuff. And I got to say, that first 45 minutes was about as entertaining as it possibly gets. Both sides having a go, wasn't it?
Maybe we're going to be a bit of a Kevin Keegan team. You score more goals than you concede, and after a few years of that possession football, I'd have to say I'm okay with that. We do leave a lot of goal gaps at the back, don't we? And there were a couple of times when we had an attacking corner, and there was Hutton marking somebody near the halfway line, but on the touch line, wasn't he? And you think, well, if they go forward, we're a little bit screwed. We're going to be 3 on 2 or 4 on 2. But if we've shown that we're going to score goals this season, we're going to score a lot of goals. We get the ball in the box quickly, and we also get men in the box quickly. So it's not just a case of hitting the ball across. We're actually getting bodies forward, which is quite different to last season when cross would come into the box and maybe you'd have 1 or 2 players in there. But if we score more than we concede, then I'm going to have to say I'm going to be happy with that. So let's hope that continues.
Yeah, I think it's worth remembering that at times last season we had 1 shot, not necessarily on target, but just if you remember those stats and then you think to how it is now, it's so different, Mitchell, so different.
Crawley away, I don't even think we had a shot.
No, we didn't. No.
From the worst games I've ever been to. I agree, because last season at times you're like, what? The forward thing is where I sit in the articles is a running joke, because there is a woman who will shout forward straight away and the conditions, and so sometimes we do it as a bit of a joke.
It was you then. It was you.
Yeah, it might have been. That's a little, but it's more of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, because someone does that. I don't think my heart can take 5-5s, 5-3. I'm reasonably young. I can just see my hairline receding as I'm watching these games. I want to balance. When we all joked last season about when we had the interim managers and we would just go, we're outscore you. They were unreal games. But I think it's because we were so bored of seeing 0-0, 1-0s or losing that they were exciting. It was good to have those 2 moments of exciting games under Mildy and
Gav
Gunning.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can take the conceded. You just know what happens. We're so used to it going wrong for us that those five, the Wrexham game will become normal. Yeah, the 5-5 when we're 5-3 up going into extra time, because we're just so used to it going wrong. We're like, wow, 5-3, they're going to score 2 goals now, and then you can just feel it in the atmosphere just because we know that happens to us. So I'll take 1-0.
Yeah, I absolutely. After Wrexham, that was my comment. I'd take a scrappy 1-0 win, thanks. A horrible game of football. But when the 8 minutes for extra time went up at the end of the game, we were still worried in case we might concede.
I think it's probably the first time I wasn't worried. I was like, something can't go drastically wrong. But at 5, then even Shade scored, made it 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, cracking goal too. Watched it again this afternoon. 3 guys next to me on Saturday left for half-time early. Were slow coming back and left the game early. I think they missed 3 of the goals. Need to be in your seat for the full 100 minutes at the moment, or you will miss a goal. Manager of the month, says Craig, Mike Flynn. It was Dyer last year, and this season is so refreshing to see. The style is open and attacking, so won't be bored anymore. Surely if we sort the defence and we have goals in us, then it's a recipe for promotion. That word was used on Saturday, Mark. Bit early. Yeah, a bit early, I think. That sort of getting there late, leaving early for half time, getting back late from what's that about? Do you understand that, Mark? I can't cope with that.
No.
Mark's off to the
Not at
toilet every 5 minutes. I
did nearly miss one at Wrexham. I mean, because if I have a pre-match pint, it goes. I've suffered from old man's bladder, I think. So just about got Jake Young's first goal against Wrexham. But a lot of these fans are leaving, not with like a couple of minutes to go, but like 5 or 10 minutes to go for the game. And you're just thinking, is it really that important to get back to your car so early so that you can miss the traffic? No, I don't see it. I think I've left in all my 50 years as a fan. I reckon I've left the ground early once. And that might have been the Leeds game in the Premier League when we let the 5th goal in, and I was so naffed off to concede 100 goals. I just went off in high dudgeon. But apart from that, you just got to stay to the end. It's surely part and parcel of being a football fan, isn't it? And also great to applaud your team off on Saturday. You know, they've given us, they've really entertained us. We've won 6-0. Don't you want to show your appreciation to the people who've made that possible and made it happen? That's the definition for me of being a supporter, surely, isn't it?
Yeah, I've only left twice earlier, and that was to go off and do basketball commentary. So I had an excuse. I think it's fair to say. Even then, I hated it. It's that simple. Thank you. And I would say, I mentioned it on social media. It was my grandson Aiden's first home game on Saturday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now 6-0. It ain't like that every week. It's that simple, really. I mean, Leon, what was it like around you? The atmosphere was fabulous second half, wasn't it? It was celebratory football, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was just mulling on the leaving early point as well. I did look down, with 5 minutes to go, and there were people leaving. And I did say, what are they going to do? But what are they actually going to go and do with those extra 5 minutes? So just as Marcus commented, really, it was just I was curious as much as anything as to what I was missing that was better than watching this and then giving the team the appreciation at the end as well. So sorry, so I missed the question. What was the question, Vic? Sorry,
I kind of forgotten now. Let me know what the question was.
What was the atmosphere like around?
What was the atmosphere? That's right. Yeah,
it was great, wasn't it? And I think we've got to enjoy it. We've got to enjoy it while we can. And we scored 15 goals in four league games, and I enjoyed the Crewe game as well. I thought that was a really good game of football. I thought Crewe were a decent watch as well, and I thought that was an excellent game. I know we were all frustrated and annoyed at losing a couple of points, but I thought it was a good game of football, and I think they all have. So let's enjoy it, and I think let's get behind the team. I mean, and celebrate that connection that I think we're starting to feel that was probably there in the Wellens year, and we've not really had much since in that respect. The Ghana team felt a little bit distant, didn't it, in that respect?
Yeah.
We need to build those bridges with fans as much. So I think the more that we can get, Kempe or I think Udoka was on it as well, wasn't he, a couple of weeks ago, doing that sort of thing here to encourage them to be part of us. I think that is important too. And I think that was one of the things that Michael Flynn spoke about on the pitch, wasn't it, when he came on the last game of the season, about being part of the community. So I think if they do reach out to us as fans, then we reciprocate and let's get behind them and support them in everything that they do. And I think that's that working together bit to hopefully achieve something together.
Yeah, and I think Liam picked up a very important point there. I think it's a comparison that's made a lot, actually, between the setup now and the Welland setup. It does have that feeling of connection. And, you know, getting players on here, for instance, has been really difficult for 2 or 3 years. But we are, thankfully, getting players on here to talk to people, you know, which is lovely. But, you know, that does seem to be that connection.
Yeah, definitely, and I can see why people are drawing parallels with that Welland season. The soapbox I'd like to get onto, though, is that it shouldn't be dependent on the manager. For me, it should be dependent on the setup behind the scenes. So, you know, Jamie Russell as head of football needs to look at this sort of thing as well, not just style of play. He needs to think about the ethos and the connection with the community as well, so that when managers move on and backroom staff move on, the whole shebang doesn't move with them, because that's what we saw with Welland. You know, the most of I think basically the entirety of the community work and the connection with the fans was down to him. And Michael Flynn has it because he gets that. He gets the need to be part of the community, and I think he gets it not just because he thinks he has to, but because he understands community, and he thinks it's the right thing to do. So, you know, it's a no-brainer. But I wouldn't want to see that out the door as soon as the manager and backroom staff move on. So let's make it part of the club. Let's make it part of our club that we are a community outreach club, not just because Michael Flynn's here.
No, I agree with you,
yeah.
and I think Jamie Russell gets that. I mean, obviously, he worked with the community, didn't he, and the academy before that, and I do think he gets that. He's very keen for that to happen. Lots of comments coming in. It's all about the midfield holding the ball up. More gives the defence more breathing space. It'll all come good. There's been only 2 0-0s in League Two so far this season, which is quite interesting. Lots more coming in. Sorry. We said everyone should have stayed at the end to applaud that performance. I left earliest once, 2-1 down, 1-3-2, never again versus Grimsby years back. My wife picks me up after all the home games on Shrewsbury Road and said there were many outside when Shade scored, with some turning back to enter the stadium. Muppets, says Derek. Is the leaving early due to extended game and getting out of Tesco within 3 hours? Some people do have last buses or trains to catch, so let's not be too critical. And that is a very fair point, Mitchell, with these now extended games, certainly at night. You know, for instance, if I want to get a train back, if I caught the train back here, I'd have to get one by 10 o'clock. If not, I'm stuck on Swindon Station till 6 the following morning. So there is that factor to be built in this year, isn't there?
I've left once early, and I didn't regret a single moment. It's actually not Richie Welling's first game. I think it's 5-0 Carlisle after 60 minutes.
Four. Let's not give him another one.
I left with 30 minutes to go and didn't regret a single minute of it, because football can ruin my day. I will go home and I'll be in a bad mood for the rest of the afternoon, the rest of the evening. My wife has to avoid me. So if I can reduce 30 minutes of watching that pain, I'm happy with that. But that's the only one-off memory that I can think that I left. If people need to leave early, they need to leave early. It's up to them. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. It does blow my mind if there's like a 1-1 and it's really intense. I think you've paid for this. Why are you leaving? But if it's like 3 or 4-0, it's fine. But when it's so close, I don't understand. And the person who tried to do a U-turn, you can't see it. We ain't got a screen. You can't watch it back. So why are you going back in the stadium for the shade goal? It doesn't make sense. People are entitled to do what they want. They pay a fee. They kind of do what they want. But yeah, I will be there until the whistle goes. For the same reason, applaud the players, boo the ref if I need to, if he's had a bad game. And to be honest, I like everyone to kind of clear out before I leave anyway, and then normally go to the winners' lounge and have a drink after, see some of the players, see some familiar faces, and it's all part of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was following the score updates whilst watching Ayr versus Dundee United on Saturday, says Craig. I was certainly much happier than the Ayr fans stood around me. The 732-mile round trip to home game seems much shorter when we're playing like this. See you all at Tony. Craig lives in Scotland. I mean, boy, well done. That's all I can say. My son went to Wrexham, was still nervous at 4-1. Only when we got the 5th, he thought we would win. Funny how football can do this to you. Discuss Wrexham. Anyway, Mark, where do we go then? Let's talk about Doncaster. We've already said if you take them lightly, then a banana skin awaits, I think. And we're all very excited. We're all loving the football. It's great, etc., etc. But hey, this is Swindon.
Yeah. Well, what was one of the first things that Michael Flynn said after the game? He was determined to keep his players' feet on the ground, and that's entirely correct. He's been around the block quite a lot, hasn't he, Flynn? And he knows the score. You know, you're absolutely on a high, you're on the crest of a wave. You've won 6-0. The players' feet will hardly have touched the ground, but he needs to buy in, you know, instill into them that this is going to be a tough game. They're bottom of the league. They've got 1 point. I don't think they've won a match all season out of 5. It won't be easy by any stretch of the imagination. One of the things they will try to do, I'm sure, is to get in our faces and try to stop us playing. So I don't think from the manager there'll be any sort of underestimating Doncaster. In fact, quite the opposite. I think it's a really tough game. If we get a point, it's not terrible. We'd love to win, keep the run going, see how it goes. But we're certainly not going to win 6-0, are we? It's going to be maybe an odd goal in 3, 2-1, perhaps if we get a win, or maybe 3-1, something like that. But let's try to keep it going because it's great to start the season unbeaten at the moment. But the manager certainly won't be underestimating that opposition.
No, I'd take a scrabby 1-0 right now. Thanks very much. Case is annoying when people go to leave early and then stand in the way to watch what's on the pitch. I missed our last goal on Saturday due to someone standing in the way. Now that is annoying. If you're walking down the steps, don't stop. Just keep going. It's that simple. Donny on Saturday then, Liam. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Mark on that. I think it will be tough. I think the league table is pretty irrelevant at the moment. It's more of it's a form guide, isn't it? But they fancied themselves, didn't they, at the start of the season? So I'm sure once they get going, they'll be okay. But let's not have it from Saturday. Interesting to see that they're playing Everton in the League Cup on Wednesday night, so they'll have a bit of attention on that one. I think it might be another end-to-end seat of the pants, 2-2, something like that. Perhaps I think it will be a tough one.
Take a point, simple as that, away from home, wouldn't you? Everton, well, gosh, they're having a great season, aren't they? Boy, oh boy. Where are you with this, Anna? No, they're on about getting a striker. I think they need one. Where are you with it, Anna?
If we think we're a good side after Saturday, let's win at Doncaster. That's what a good side is. If we're going to be middle of the road, hanging on to the end of the playoffs, then we'll go up there and lose. But let's prove something. Let's prove that Saturday wasn't just a one-off. Let's hold it. And I'd like to see a clean sheet. So maybe that 0-0 is that'll be the third 0-0 we've seen in League Two. That'd be a result. So. Yeah, I just think we've got to try and keep it going. If we think we're really good, we're going to come up against a totally different caliber of opposition on Saturday. They are going to get in our faces, probably try and wind us up, snap at us. Much different to the second half on Saturday. But I think we've got something to prove, really. Prove that wasn't just a one-off. And, let's hope we do keep it going.
Wow, 6-0 every week, that'd be great, wouldn't it? I mean, I'd take 5-4 every week, to be honest, but 1-0 every week, I don't care. So just final thoughts then before we wrap this up, Mitchell. Hang on. Where I sit in the Don Rogers is a group that turn up regularly 15 minutes after the start as they're in the pub. Leave 10 minutes early to get a beer, leave 10 minutes before the end to get to the pub, and have to go to the loo every 5 minutes. Just go to the pub. It's simple, isn't it? Save yourself 25 quid as well. 6-5 to us, 4-1 down at half time. Says Adrian. Let's just stay at the start of this season. Let's not worry about Saturday. How much have you enjoyed it? And then we'll wrap it all up. Mitchell, how much have you enjoyed this season so far?
Yeah, no, really enjoyed it. Even the 5-5, heartbreak where, very upset for the rest of the day. But no, it's a breath of fresh air, isn't it? The attacking style, the fact that we're going for it's been a long time since I've seen a a 5 at the back or 5-3-2 work. The last few managers who tried to do it with it really hasn't worked. The balance isn't there. I think it does the best. It gets the wing backs up. It gets 2 strikers. It gets 3 centre midfielders. I think the boys look fitter. I know people saying obviously Flynn's getting a lot out of certain players, and I agree. With potentially Hepburn, Murphy before he get injured. But I think it's the addition. I'm not just saying this because I think Kemp is a huge difference to us. Just that driving, the arrow in the middle of the park, he just runs at people and that extra bit of quality. I think it's going to be an exciting season. I think we're going to be up there, thereabouts. And I'm not saying playoffs. I reckon, third, automatic promotions, and that's the most positive thing I think I've ever said about Swindon.
Wow, gosh, hang on a minute. I've just got to recover. Right, okay. Mark, I see Jack Payne might be leaving Charlton. I'll just throw that one in. How much are you enjoying it, Mark?
Yeah, great, isn't it? I mean, the last 3 games, like I said, I missed the first league game, but fantastic to win the game at Forest Green, and to get a first win. And I think when you go to a game like Wrexham, you just say, in years to come, I was there. Like I was there at Birmingham when we won 6-4 after being 4-1 down. So was Anna, and the 5-5 in the Sheffield United game, and the 4-3 with Leicester. And you just say, I was there. I was there to be entertained like that. So I'm really enjoying it. I'd love it to continue. There'll be some bumps along the way, I'm sure, but I think Michael Flynn gets it. Like Anna was saying, he gets what being a manager of Swindon Town Football Club is. He said when he was on the pitch and the first time he spoke to the fans, and I quote, "It's an honour to be a manager of this football club." And that is entirely correct. It is an honour. Jody Morris wasn't interested, was he? Wasn't interested in the slightest, but Michael Flynn is. You can see that. You can see that passion, that burning desire comes from within, and hopefully he can be not only a good manager, but also a successful manager, because we'd love nothing more than that, wouldn't we?
We would, if he's successful, the club's successful. It's that simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
A bit like those who turn up late at Forest Green because they're in the pub. They moan about their view of the game. We got to believe the top 3, STFC, believe that's Mark, and I expect 10,000 attendances at SM1 if the form continues. I mean, your book sort of, apart from all the emotional, terrible times that you went through, Liam, but, it really does sort of document the life of a Swindon fan, and how much sometimes it's miserable, sometimes it's great. I mean, right now at the minute, it's great, isn't it?
It's hugely entertaining, and I think genuinely exciting. I am looking forward to the rest of the season. Is it going to be like this, or will it settle down into a normality of 1-0s and 2-1s? I think it's going to carry on a bit like this, to be honest, and bring it on. In every game, we are gonna have spells where we're under the cosh, and I think all 4 league games have been a bit like that, where we've looked a little bit open and we can concede at any moment. That is going to happen. We're going to get. I think let's get used to that and trust the players that we've got and the management we've got to actually go and score one more than the other lot. And as Anna said, put some markers down, because if we are going to look at ourselves at the top end of the table, then we need to believe in them, and they need to believe that they can do it too. So yeah, really, really looking forward to seeing what comes. But I think it's going to be much of the same.
Well, much of the same would do nicely, Anna. And
Dan,
Dan,
say that.
Yeah.
Kemp is. We've not really spoken too much about it in terms of where we need to cover for, but I think Kemp is one player we need. We need somebody else in that sort of role who can do something like he does, because I don't think we've got anything if he's injured or needs a rest, as well as there's a lot of games to come. So I think we need a bit of cover in that area, as well as the other midfield ones. I think are a priority.
As I said, Jack Payne might be available from Charlton. Anyway, I mean, it's great. I mean, Kemp is, it's a joy watching Dan Kemp play, isn't it, Anna? I mean, you come away from that on Saturday, and any other game, he'd have won man of the match by a streak, wouldn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few players that are turning out decent performances this season, aren't there? Kemp makes a massive difference in the midfield, but so does Khan. And I think maybe playing alongside each other, they reap the benefits from that knowing that there's another capable player alongside them. That always has that influence, doesn't it? I think it's very early days to talk about how the season's going to go. You don't know whether it is going to. It's undoubtedly going to be a roller coaster, isn't it? There's no way Swindon Town will go through a season without one. And we've got off the pitch stuff as well to think about, haven't we? Which we haven't
Well,
talked about.
No, I was
So-
going to wait. I was going to say, how worried are you by the off the field stuff?
Yeah, a reasonable amount, I would say, because when Clem Morfuni came in, he came under this banner of transparency and openness, and that's clearly not what we've got, is it? Which is sad, really. And you want what's going on the pitch to be reflected on it. You don't want stuff going on off the pitch which makes you nervous when you looking over your shoulder at that. So I hope they can get things sorted and we can get actually some transparency and honesty that the fans deserve. All fans of every club deserve a bit of openness and honesty. We've been promised it, so we expect it more. So let's at the same time, let's enjoy what's going on the pitch, because it has been breath of fresh air versus last season, and just enjoyable as well, having a manager who actually cares, as Mark said, and who actually is likable.
Mitchell, you're nodding your head. I mean, the point is the trust and the supporters are going to meet with Clem and put all these questions to him. It could be a very important meeting. I think everybody realises that this needs to be sorted out. It needs to be out in the open. Everybody needs to know where you're going, and that's it. We all need to know where we're headed. It's that simple, don't we?
I will never trust anyone with my club, regardless. That's just the way my brain is. And the last person I trusted, actually genuinely thought, was Jed. So that's just put that out there. I will never trust anyone with my club. When it was all rosy and Clem's amazing, I still was never going to trust anyone because I have those trust issues. And I've said it before, everyone reacts slightly different in the situation. You have certain fans who will go, "Thank you, you saved our club. I love you. You're the best thing ever." And you got those people who go, "No, this looks shifty. He's a shifty guy." Everyone doom gloom with our club. That's just our fan base. That's how it's going to be. My concern is if he had come out and said it at the time, I think we'd all be understand. You suddenly have to pull all this money out. But then my brain goes, wasn't part of the condition to buy the stadium that we had to have 100% owner. Therefore, he's lied to the trust. He's lied to Swindon Borough Council to get the purchase of the stadium through. And then my brain goes to overdrive. Go, well, we've caught him on this. What else can we catch? We haven't caught him. So I try not to think about it, because then I start creating all these scenarios in my head, because I've got trust issues with anyone who owns my club. So for me, whatever he says, I won't necessarily believe it. I'm just going to focus on what's on the pitch and support the team on the pitch. I'll put money into the club because me and my son will have the kits, because the money into the club hopefully goes into the players. But I'm just going to try not to think about everything off now and try and focus on the pitch, because, like I said, my brain will go in overdrive and I just have trust issues with anyone who owns my club.
Okay, well, we'll stop your brain going into overdrive at the minute. You don't want to get too stressed. Mark?
Yeah, I think Mitchell's right that there are two schools, aren't there? There's the pro-Clem kind of faction, and there's the people who believe that he's a really dodgy character and everything's terrible. And I think
I think we should just avoid using dodgy and shifty, if that's okay with you.
Okay, take your point.
My journalistic sense is going to kick in here and say
allegedly, the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, doesn't it? I mean, I think Anna hit the nail on the head when she said about the openness and transparency. That's what he promised. And what happened, what we learned last week, didn't feel open and transparent, did it? It felt a bit murky, and it felt like we were back to those previous times of Lee Power. And I think what we need is just clarity. Just come out and say exactly what's happened. Where are we? Are we in a position to, compete? We're told the budget is a healthy one. We were told lots of things pre-season to sell 5,000 odd season tickets. I'm not sure they've all happened. But I think that the biggest thing for Swindon fans with the history that we've had is getting things out in the open, explain to fans, be honest, be clear, and people will then appreciate you for it.
Lee, I'm just finally with you then. What's your thought?
Yeah, much the same. I think maybe trying to look forward. I think clearly we've had some questions which have been raised, which I think are well documented. We need clarity and we need answers on those. That's not unreasonable in any shape or form. Maybe, just maybe, it does bring us back together in terms of this is what we mean by open and transparent. This is what our expectations are as fans. It's our club. maybe it is a wake up call to one or two who've forgotten that in the last 18 months or so. So perhaps there's a positive there if the meetings go the right way, and it's not just a meeting, but I think then it has to be continuous dialogue, and transparency isn't, it's not just for Christmas, is it? So it's something that we need to be to sustain us really for forever, but certainly whilst Clem's around, we need that. I think we need that clarity of approach and ensuring we've got the right governance of our football club.
Well, thank you all very much indeed for your views. And as I say, this meeting is taking place, I think, mid to late September with Clem. So hopefully these questions will be answered and we can all move forward, because that's what we want to do, and worry about what happens on that green thing on Saturday afternoon. Chris, thank you very much indeed. And thanks to Dan Kemp for joining us earlier.
Yeah, I echo what Vic said. Thank you for Dan for joining us. Thank you, Mitchell, Mark, Liam and Anna for providing the comments tonight. Right, we will be back next Monday. Not sure what with yet or who with yet, but it's being organised. Other than that, we'll see you if you're travelling to Doncaster. Okay, have a good week, and fishing at 9.
Don't forget Wednesday, we've got Brian Hughes at 10 o'clock in the morning, which will record former town midfielder.
Thank you very much, Vic. Yeah. So we've got an extraordinary one on Wednesday. Brian can't do the evenings, so Vic and I will be presenting one of these at 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. So if anybody's about then, you're very welcome to join us. But of course, it will be recorded, so you can watch it when you can. So that's Brian Hughes, 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Okay, so Falls Rush in, and just a big thank you or congratulations to Rockin' Robin, aka Malcolm, who done the Epsom mascot challenge today. Unfortunately, didn't win it, but he took part, and it's all for the Children's Trust. So well done, Malcolm. And okay, so we'll either see you Wednesday at Doncaster or on next Monday. Take care.
Is that it then?